quickly from the tomb in fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. I don't think this was a fear like they were afraid of Jesus. I think this was an awareness of reverential fear of this guy is somebody special, because nobody dies like that and then comes back to life. And not only back to life, because we see it in Lazarus, we see it in other instances in the scriptures, but is raised to life eternal. And so it's important that we grab a hold of clearly what the scripture is telling us in our day, especially during this time and season. So I don't want to drive Grover crazy looking at the time ticking away, but that's going to be it for me. I have several other scriptures to share, but not enough time to do it, and that's okay. We'll be back the week after next with more here at ChristianBody.net.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. This is great stuff. We're going to continue here with going into the forum, and over there's a couple things we're doing as we go here. We have a lot of things on the griddle. Is that a good way to say that? A lot of things coming up, and we have so many things, folks, that we can't keep up with them. It seems like we're getting overwhelmed with all these events. This is wonderful. This is the Kairos time that Jim is talking about. It's happening. We are getting to be a part of it, and many others are as well. But we also are confused sometimes because there's so many things going on. We don't want people to run on overload. God is doing amazing things. We just need to get the order of the kingdom, I think, here. So let's take some time here today and look through some of the things that are coming up. Take them one thing at a time, and I'm going to put some text up as we go here. I've set up for that, so we can do that. And Mark, you're kind of in the center of all of this, and let's break this down and take it a step at a time. What's going on starting today? What is happening? And I know there's some iffies and some question marks, but let's kind of go through that the best we can. And where would you like to start there?
I'll start with today.
Okay.
We're already talking
start right
now. With everything that's happening with the Koreans coming May 2nd through May 9th, today I will be on the Prayer at the Heart national call to kind of interact with the other ministry leaders across America and to kind of set the stage for what's coming. Doug, tomorrow I will be on with Doug Small from Project Pray and Aaron Park, who is overseeing the Koreans coming to America, along with others on a national and international forum, to prepare for Doug Small, who's coming to New Mexico next Tuesday, the 11th, and he will only be here until the 12th in the afternoon. So we are trying to set up ways to meet with him, to hear from him, because the reason he and Aaron Park are coming is to meet with everybody and anybody who is interested, or for sure those that are going to be part of the Korean team coming. And certainly they want to share about Prayer at the Heart and everything like that, and those involved can get a clearer picture. But the main purpose is to set up when the Koreans come, what are they going to be doing? And of course, from there, we are going again the 19th out to Four Corners. That is where Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico all come together. It's the only place in America where there's a perfect cross where all of the four states come together. I believe that the north, east, west, south is very significant. This is what many tribal nations believe. But this to me is the Ezekiel vision of praying to those four winds for God to breathe a fresh breath from all these different angles. And actually bringing up Asbury, one of the interesting things I heard about it was most of the people coming in and out of that building, at least when it first started there on the campus, where they were saying that the winds were blowing into that building from all four directions. Now, look, that's not usual weather, okay? So let's again take the natural and try to figure out what is God showing us in this world that we're living in. So Four Corners is on the 19th. It'll start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We will be having dinner in Farmington that evening. I know that Daisa Han, I will be on with him Saturday this week at 8 to 9 in the morning. And anybody's welcome to be part of that. It's a call-in national prayer time. You can go to prayersurgenow.net. That's prayersurgenow.net. And he has all the information up there, as well as on transformusa.info. That's transformusa.info. Everything having to do with what's going on at Four Corners on the 19th. On the 20th, we will be where we've been several times before last year, guys, out on the checkerboard area of the Navajo Nation in Gallup, which is the most patriotic city in America and known as Indian City. But we will be at Joshua Generation Church, and that will be in the evening of the 20th. And then we'll head home to Albuquerque metro area. And on the 22nd of April, we will be at Richard Mansfield's Church, New Beginnings, which is on Montgomery in Albuquerque, from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening. And if I'm going too fast for anybody to write this down, Grover, I see you trying to take
I'm
notes
putting the text in here as you're going here, hopefully.
So 9 in the morning to 9 in the evening on the 22nd will be the Awake Conference. Now, again, I was on Transform USA yesterday talking with Amy Stower, who is part of a huge church. Her and her husband pastor a church in California known as The River, but they are part of the Prayer at the Heart team there in California. They have done 4 events in Texas in February called Awake Texas. They did 4 events this past month in March in California, and they are coming to New Mexico. And so their 4 events will be the Four Corners, the Farmington, the Joshua Generation Church in Gallup, and then Albuquerque, which will be an Awake New Mexico conference. Now, this is all set on exactly what Jim talked about in the last segment, and you can't get Jim away from it. We are commissioned and we are commanded to go. What is the game plan that God set up from heaven? What did he breathe into the people to write this reality when Jesus spoke? Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. So from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening on April 22nd, and you can register for all these events at christianbody.tv or christianbody.net. And so from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening at the Awake New Mexico event. So this is for New Mexico, but you're welcome to come from anywhere in the state, anywhere around, anywhere in the world. You're welcome. But it will cover ministries in New Mexico specifically. So I oversee New Mexico Prayer Connect for Prayer at the Heart as well here at christianbody.net. We're all different ministries working together for God's kingdom purpose. Richard Mansfield from New Mexico Praise, which was started by Brian Alarid, became America Praise, went to World Praise. But all of these things will be highlighted at that meeting on the 22nd for New Mexico. Then they will expand to the national ministries, whether it's Billy Graham Association, Doug Small's Project Pray, and other things he's involved in, and other ministries nationally. Promise Keepers, of course, Daisa Han is the overseer for Promise Keepers, and other ministries that are in or around New Mexico, but nationally involved. And then the bigger vision, Jim, you and I were up in Colorado last year for the Billion Soul Harvest. So we got our Jerusalem, we got our Judea, Samaria, but then it will be to the uttermost or the outermost, I like to say, parts of the earth, the unreached people groups. And there are many of them that don't have the Bible in their own language, just like many of the tribal nations. And so we are working with local, state, national, and international ministries. If you're in any form of ministry, what does the Bible say? Without vision, we perish. Not our vision, God's vision. We want to do his word, his will, his way. And that's only going to be done by the Spirit, but they are going to lay out this game plan of how to reach the unreached people groups. And so, Jim, I see you got your hand up. What do you got?
Thank you, Mark, for explaining things. I've been the guy that's been confused a little bit with so many meetings going on here, but it's turning our head a little bit, but it's trying to get my feet on the ground here to understand things. And one thing is let me take my hand off there, is understanding the place that we fit. Now we're connecting. You described the connecting upward nationally. For example, Awake. I don't fully understand Awake because we got different ministries mixed with that. We have Diced Up that's connected with the Promise Keepers, and he's also with the Billion Soul Harvest, and he's with several other group prayer surge and the Awake conference is it sounds exciting. I'm trying to explain it to people, and I'm trying to get inclusion, but I find myself not fully understanding either. I was at the Billion Soul Harvest, and the vision they had, billion souls by 2033. Hey, these guys are. And then some people say, well, we ought to make it 2 billion. So, I mean, this is a effort of faith. Just like we're going with prayer at the heart, 33 counties, 23 nations. That's an outrageous, really, a plan. But again, that's what we need to go with. Outrageous plan that God puts and bursts in us to go do it. And that's what we're doing out there. And just seeing now the connection here. I got the fairgrounds for Valencia County yesterday. We firmed it up here in tremendous facilities right there. We have a whole area covered so we'll be protected from the sun and electricity. We got the stage, we got everything, and just getting our little stuff together, but ready for the doing of the taking forward with the rooftop ministry to be part of this with this. But anyway, I don't mean to elaborate myself, but just explain more the Awake for me, please. That would help me a lot.
Yeah, so the Awake Conference really is a condensed version. If you remember, Jim, we were some 3 days up in Colorado Springs for the Billion Soul Harvest. So what they did was they kind of broke that all down to do one-day events in, as I said, Texas, California will be next year, in New Mexico. It is a condensed version of vision casting for that Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, because quite honestly, the church has been evangelical in many ways, but have we done it God's way? And one of the key ways that I think we've missed out on is Paul's going to the Jew first and then the Gentile, because we have not really reached the Jewish community because we've tried to convert them into Christianity instead of bring them to their Messiah and then understand the bigger picture of not just the nation of Israel, but all nations, peoples, tribes, and tongues. So it's vision casting. It's almost a play on word to the woke movement. And quite honestly, as I said, the Koreans are coming to pray for an awakening. An awakening is when people who are dead asleep all of a sudden are woken up by God. All right. A revival is when the church is revived. We have been in church. We've been in prayer. We've been in the word. We've been in worship. We've been in fellowship. We've been in prisons. We've been in jails. We've fed the hungry. We clothed the naked. We've done all the right things, but have we done it God's way? And so I think, again, the culmination of all things is coming together, and people are beginning to realize, hey, you know what? I'm not God. I'm not God. You're not God. God is God. And as John Robb puts it, let the head be the head and the body be the body. That's what Awake is all about. It's to impart, it's to inform, it's to cast vision, and it's to get people involved in God's kingdom purpose, God's way. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Mark, for that explanation. I'm beginning to understand a little bit better, but God's ways aren't man's way, nor his thoughts. Why, that's Isaiah 55. And what's happened, looking back at what's happened, the church has not done it God's way, and that's an affirmation, what you're saying here, of that thinking itself out there. But God's way is going to be different, though. This is the whole thing. It's not going to be like we have organizationally. It's going to be an organism operated by the head, the Holy Spirit, directing these things. And it's not going to do like this, because I'm trying to bring in organizationally people, like I say, prayer at the heart of Valencia County. But it's not going to look like that when it comes to people who have ears here. Church leadership may not be listening and may not want to be involved. And so, but we got to continue forward, Lord. But I'm glad we're rehashing this and re-looking at this and refocusing on it. Because I mentioned already in India on Monday morning preaching over there. And I was in with Pastor Andrew out of Zambia, Puma. These opportunities that we have internationally, again, working with the brothers when we were at the Building Soul Harvest, all the connections from India that we were with. I mean, and other countries that, hey, these opportunities are Kairos type, and hold on to your hand. It's not going to look like what we have here on the ground. There's going to be some change, and there's going to be opposition. That's what I'm saying. Opposition to change. Now, we're not trying to be mean or rude, but we need to be about the work of the Lord, the call out there. And so it's going to take, as we welcome people aboard out there, those that may not understand, it may take a little time to explain things a little bit, but, we need to be very patient and very kind as we explain it. And if we step it over because I've been through this, I've stumbled over people's feet and authority and whatnot in different meetings, but I certainly apologize. And I want to not offend, but I want to be inclusive and to keep widening this circle. Keep widening as wide as it goes. As the Holy Spirit moves to widen the circle, we're going to have some unconventional people. I look at Alonso Garcia and the churches that he's working with, the Church of God out there, going to 6 services a week in 2 churches already. And how is he doing that? By opening the circle, including people that we call DQ. And so this is very important. So, but thank you, Mark. I appreciate this explanation.
Yeah, Mark, are you still there?
He opened his
Mark.
mouth. Oh,
we have lost Mark.
Speak to us, Mark.
He'll come back on here in a second. This is the internet, guys. It does happen. It happens often, even frequently. But we're just going to continue on since Mark gets back on here. Let's just review a little bit here. We've talked about because Jim, like you're saying, there's so many things which it's easy to get. Wow, which one are we on? We were talking about Doug Small and Aaron Park being here. The 11th?
The 11th and the 12th, but it's probably going to be the 12th.
Yeah.
Looking at airline schedules and everything else, the meeting with them, it's at Mark's house, or is it going to be outside? But it has to be before their flight.
Yeah.
Before their flight out that same day. So.
There you go. Mark, we're back.
You're back, Mark.
You're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Let's take a bite out of this again and review what we've gone over so far. Mark, if you want to just repeat some of the things just as a list or whatever. I'm putting some things up here on the website as well.
Okay, things that people can join. If you're watching and you're part of the Prayer at the Heart, you can join today from 11 to 12. That information, if you're connected with me here in New Mexico, you've had it before. It's the same Zoom number, so that'll be real easy. The 11th and 12th, as soon as I nail down exactly what's going to be happening that Tuesday night and that Wednesday day until Doug Small and Aaron Park leave New Mexico, we will keep you as informed as we can. This is almost like a hurry up and wait military action, and we are just asking you to be patient with us. We're trying to get them to meet with as many people as possible while they are in the state to accomplish the work that they want to accomplish in the state by sending these Korean teams to New Mexico and the other 39 states in America. But it's a great privilege and honor. If you're interested in the Prayer at the Heart movement, or the idea of the Koreans coming to pray for awakening or revival in New Mexico specifically, you can get in touch with me. My email is marktross@live.com, and we'll get you the information as we know. But Grover has most of this stuff up at christianbody.tv and christianbody.net. So the Four Corners event is open to anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter if you're from Utah, Colorado, Arizona, or New Mexico. You can come in. People visit that place from all over the nation and all around the world. So you're welcome to join us. It'll be 2:00 in the afternoon on the 19th.
It's specifically for prayer, again, for awakening and revival. And, but there will be worship and speakers and stuff like that, probably run an hour and a half or so. The dinner itself that night is by invitation only. And so you'll have to follow transformusa.info or prayersurgenow.net. And I will be on Saturday along with Linda Jaramillo, who's in Arkansas, former New Mexico State Coordinator for National Day of Prayer, and so many others. Again, be in prayer for what's happening in Texas for sure with the 574 tribes, because I believe not only is this historical that they're coming together, but we will see the fruit of that labor, because this just does not happen unless God pulls it together. And I know God's going to have his way, because he says he's going to bless us in our coming and going. So from there, we go to the 20th, again, of April, out on the Navajo Nation, the checkerboard area in Gallup at Joshua Generation that evening at 6:00 for an Awake event there. I know former Navajo Vice President will be there. We've had him on here. And then we go right back to where we're at here now. So I'm sitting in Rio Rancho. We'll be in Albuquerque at New Beginnings Church Saturday the 22nd for the Awake New Mexico event that'll run from 9 in the morning till 9 in the evening. We are looking to provide a free lunch for you if you attend, but you must register at christianbody.tv, christianbody.net, so that we know you're coming and we can prepare properly. But this will be a vision casting, networking, connecting reality of the ministries in New Mexico, national ministries and international ministries. So let me just say this. I know Karen Smedley from the TV station in Phoenix will be here. Grover, you know her. Jim knows her. As I mentioned, Amy Stower, who's from the River Church in California, a big part of what's happening out there with Prayer at the Heart and the 4 Awake events that they did. She will be here. So listen, New Mexicans, if you live in Albuquerque, come on. There's 2,000 churches. For sure you can show up for that day. It's one day. It's very important. It's not what we're doing. It's what God is doing across this nation and around the world. So you're invited. It's like the wedding supper of the Lamb. You're invited. Whether you show up or not is up to you. But when we have people coming from Arizona, from California, from Korea, I mean, I would just say, come on, guys. I know that Nigel Bigpond, who was the visionary for the tribal nations, along with Chuck Pierce, meeting together in Texas, he will be at that meeting in New Mexico in Albuquerque. So you definitely want to hear from him. He is really a huge overseer for what's happening in the tribal nations. From there, April 22nd, we will just catapult into the Prayer at the Heart events and the Koreans being in New Mexico specifically and the 39 other states to kick off National Day of Prayer and just meet with as many people as possible while they're here and to pray with as many people possible. So other than that, Grover, wherever you want me to go, we can take it from there.
Yeah, Mark, thank you. And I think we got a pretty good handle on what we have so far, Jim. And I think now let's get into a little bit more in the future. How about getting into Prayer at the Heart and some of the things that we have scheduled for New Mexico, starting May 6th, I think, right, is when we're talking. So if you want to kind of lay that out, and I'm putting it on the whatever this thing that runs around on the streamer.
Yeah.
while you're
Okay.
doing it there.
Yeah. So look, again, if you're not in New Mexico, don't turn us off. Pay attention, because all you have to do is go to prayerattheheart.org or projectpray.org, and all of this information for Prayer at the Heart and what's happening with the Koreans coming May 2nd through May 9th. So again, from April 22nd, we're going to be catapulted into Prayer at the Heart and what I call the Korean invasion, although it's a good thing. As Grover mentioned, Prayer at the Heart in New Mexico in Las Cruces, Doña Ana County, which is being headed up by Shelley Corder, her husband Jim, and others down there, will be May 6th. We do not yet have the location or the start time, but we do know I will be taking the Korean team. There'll be 9 of them,
Yeah.
6 women and 3 men, to Doña Ana County on that day. They will arrive on the 2nd later in the evening. So Grover, as I've mentioned to you, I would love to get them down to Lincoln County that Wednesday. If you could pull together people, we'll get them there. And I'm also going to talk to some of the folks we know, ChristianBody.net, that have the worship nights in Albuquerque, to try to get them there for worship and prayer with them. Whatever, if you have 2 or 3 people or more who want to meet with the Koreans, if you are Korean and you want to meet with them, let's get in touch so we can network. So May 6th will be the first Prayer at the Heart event. Of course, we have National Day of Prayer the first Thursday of May. Go ahead, Grover.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something in there, Mark. When we were down in Texas, at Brady, Texas, at the Texas Prayer at the Heart event, which had 3,000 people attending, I happened to, you and I were there and others, Linda Jaramillo, we were talking with Dice Up, and he had a young Korean man with him who was in the ministry. And I had, because I was saying, well, this is great having you guys come over, but what's the deal? What's going on here? Why are you here? Basically. And he said, well, we give America the credit for the revivals that have been going on in Korea. And it has made a huge change with Billy Graham and many others through the years that have ministered to Korea. This is South Korea. And he said, we feel a real responsibility to lead right now, and we need to stand with you guys. And man, I'll tell you, that is very humbling to consider that, but I was in my spirit, man, this is awesome that they are coming alongside of America at this time of need in our country and standing in prayer. And we're talking, Mark, 50 teams or 40 teams coming that are here. We have one coming to New Mexico, but there's 40 or 50 other teams that have come over. They're going all over the United States, praying every state.
Yeah, and let me say this, and this is not to bring condemnation on anybody, but they're paying their own way. All right, they are putting themselves out there to intercede on our behalf. And all I could say is, please, if you are in the body of Christ, do your best. I tell people only God can show up everywhere all the time. So we don't expect everybody to be everywhere. But for whatever we can do to connect with these teams that are coming, and all the information is up at Project Pray. I know about the 40 different states, but specifically for New Mexico, again, what I have right now is they will be up for National Day of Prayer that first Thursday in May up in Espanola. We have been asked to have them in Berlin as well. I can't be in 2 places at the same time, so unless I find somebody to split the men, I'll take to Espanola, and the women we can send to Berlin. We're going to have to figure this out, but again, it's a work in progress. It goes along with what Jim was saying earlier. We're going to work with those that are working with us, because those that are working with God are going to know their place. We may bump into each other here and there, but eventually it's going to come together, and it's going to be very fluid. And we've seen this. We've seen this again. Aaron and Camille are classic examples of that. Just meeting them at Prayer at the Heart down in Corona, meeting them for the Jesus gathering in Los Ranchos to Albuquerque last year. Now they're taking on Balloon Fiesta Park. It will be the first 3-day event of a Prayer at the Heart event combined with that Jesus gathering. Huge undertaking. Do we need your prayers? Absolutely. Do we need your financial backing? Absolutely. You can go to ChristianBody.net, ChristianBody.tv, and you can give there and designate what it's for. But more importantly, we need you to share this information, and we need you to show up and participate, because the Ephesians model is every member does their part and we come into the fullness of God. And if you don't come, we're not going to beat you up for it. We're not even going to know half the people that don't come. We won't even know half the people that do come, but we will be known by the God who has called us. And so that is the key. Let's just show up. Showing up is half the battle. And so May 6th, again, will be the very first Prayer at the Heart event, but they are coming specifically for National Day of Prayer and to connect with you. So if you're a pastor, if you're a ministry leader, if you have a prayer group, if you have a worship night, whatever you have, get with us so we can connect with you during the week that they're here.
Amen.
Amen. So Mark, why don't we go on down through the list there? We have Doña Ana County, Las Cruces, May 6th. And just kind of, we have a number of scheduled events already on the Prayer at the Heart events. If you want to kind of go through those, and I'll add them to the list as we go here.
Yeah, right after the May 6th event, when the Koreans leave, although, again, I will have them up in Espanola for National Day of Prayer that evening. We'll have them down Lincoln County, hopefully in Valencia County. I'd love to get them out to some of the folks Cipriano's working with in Cibola County. Wherever we can get them, certainly Albuquerque with what's going on. But anyway, May 20th will be the Prayer at the Heart Sandoval County event. The very center of Sandoval County, actually, which is the size of my home state, New Jersey, but it's also the same size of Israel. So I find that interesting. But Jemez Pueblo, Jemez Reservation, and Jemez Springs are the center, the very center, geographic center of Sandoval County. We'll be there May 20th. We're going to start with worship at 9:30. It's going to run from 10 to 2. It will be at Hummingbird Music Camp in the Jemez. Then from there, we jump right into July. So, and this is, again, is very fluid. Things can pop up in June. We know August 25th, 26th, 27th will be the Bernalillo County event at Balloon Fiesta Park. That's extremely important that we get as many people to that event as possible, that the church shows up. We have people coming from California, people from Texas, and I'm sure there'll be people from all over for that. So going into July, that will be Jim. Jim mentioned Valencia County, July 1st. Jim, do you have the details on that one?
Yes, I was mentioning that we have solidified, is that a good word? Solidified the plans July the 1st. And this is going to be, well, the night before, which is June the 30th, and we're going to have rooftop. We're going to get organized before and have prayer. And we'll be included rooftop. I don't know how we get that together with rooftop. Mark, you know the logistics of that. But we'll plan to have a time of prayer, worship there before. And then in the morning, we'll kick off with the, starting probably at 9 through about 4 or whatever. But we have the use of the whole facility there. We have a large, I like to call it, it's similar to the one here in Corona. It's an we have a canopy, but there's another word I like to use, Grover, and it escapes me right now. The technical word is for a canopy, but anyway, we do have probably about anywhere from 3,600 square foot canopy. And we need to put chairs and stuff. We got a stage, and this is all kind of blocked up from the wind too, which is good for New Mexico, right? So that day we're going to have all the facilities, water's there, restrooms are there, and everything else. And guess what? No charge. Praise God. So I'm in the process of organizing, and I explained this, and I've been talking about this, expanding the circle. I've been sitting back, expanding the circle. This is not going to be a Protestant event. It's going to be a Christian event. All churches coming in, Christian churches, expanding it, and all the little prayer groups here. We have in Valencia County, very interesting, we have Isleta Pueblo to the north. We have Bosque Farms coming from north to south, and then we have Peralta, and then we have Los Lunas, and we have Los Chavez, and we have Cerro Mision, and we have Meadow Lake, we have into Belen and southern Belen. There's a lot of different communities that are small villages, circles of communication. Of course, out of Belen, the hub city, we got to remember this, Belen is the hub city of New Mexico. That's where the railroad stations come through. And so it's something significant spiritually, and there's a lot of history. For example, the pilgrimage to Tomé Hill. So we do have that pilgrimage. We need to include the Catholic community involved with this here. And Friday night, Grover, that was a great meeting. We were just talking. Patricia and Dahlia did an outstanding job, and the rest of their team did, and their intercessors that have gone to every county in New Mexico, and they've picked up actually samples of soil that they brought in from of the grassroots people. In other words, there's a lot of prayer groups that have existed over the years besides the churches, and from the churches have been prayer groups, little tiny prayer groups maybe, but they're important. How do we reach them? How do we include them? I was kind of looking at following the format that we had with the Corona, 3 to 5 minutes. But hey, we're going to be open. We're going to be open. We're gathering up our sounds, which we have, and we're doing it. There's an event already in April the 20th, with or without me. So hey, it's not about me. And I get out of the way and let new leadership. That's Brother Andrew Dominicus. He's taking the lead there, and so we're taking off with that anyway. As to the day of prayer stuff and how we're working and with the day doing the Fiesta de Amor for some, over 10, 11, 12 years already, the responses are varied. But we went from a 4-day event. We had a tent revival. We have Pastor Tom Woleto come with his huge old tent, and we had 20,000 pounds of potatoes, and we gave to all with every possible ministry that happened. It has dwindled down, like even our Valencia County prayer has dwindled down, but we've still been praying. So we need to include all the prayer people. And the expectation, to God be the glory, is the expectation. Whoever wants to, they're going to be in. We need to be praying about it. And of course, Shelley was talking about at every corner of the county. I haven't done that ever. I don't know. But also to remember that we have the Ten Commandment Rock that's part of this here too. The history of this, we got a lot of history. How do we bring it all together? I don't know, but I'm praying for God to reveal it to us, how we are to work, how are we to respond to what He tells us, and how do we bring it up as the issue out there? Because I think what Santa Fe County, you shared it, Grover. Santa Fe County's points of prayer, I think, are valuable. Anybody else has some sort of a plan like that? I don't know if Camille. Aaron had developed this specific points of prayer that we have, like the Day of Prayer, the National Day of Prayer. They have the prayer points, and utilize any of these tools that we have out there to direct it. But as I told Cassidy Cordova, who is from the Fair Board here in Valencia County, this is going to be a patriotic, as we did in Corona. We're going to have the sheriff or the commissioners, county officials, that are going to be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to have the national anthem, and we're going to work on those themes themselves out there from being going back to the grassroots of the establishment of the nation of United States and the state coming in 1912. So anyway, there's a lot of things yet to be done, and I'm still waiting, but I do have approval, so we'll get a flyer going soon. So. But anyway, it's exciting what God's going to do, and I guess we need to help Socorro County. I don't know, what do you have going in Socorro County, Mark?
Let's get before we get to Socorro County, we have Cibola County. That's not July 8th, right?
Yep.
Trying to keep us on track here so we can get these things lined out as they need to be lined out. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, well, just to answer the question, we have no one in Socorro County. We really only have 9 counties covered and set to go. Not all the dates are in their places yet, but Cibola County is going to run from 11 to 1. Cipriano's heading that up. He's in Mount Taylor. It'll be in Grants at the Fire and Ice Park there, which is right in the center of town, right on Old Route 66. I know the park well. We've done events there before. So, Cipriano, any updates on what's going on there that day?
Yes, we have actually locked it down. I did talk with Vivian from Zion Ministry, who actually we're working together, and we're going to have all kinds of events. So we're going to open it up. We're going to get it from 11 to 1 and possibly more, however God moves it, because that's what we both agreed on. And then they're going to carry on and have some other bands and have some other things for activities for the kids. It's going to be a car show. There's all kinds of good things going on that day. It should go all the way to 5, 6 o'clock, and then I believe that's when we're going to close it up.
And then it's you, Grover, in Lincoln County on July 15th, which is going to hook up with the ranchers there, which I think is really exciting. These are people of the land for sure. So give us a little update on what's happening for Lincoln County, Grover.
Yeah, Lincoln County, we have a historic place in Lincoln County. It's not really in the center, but it's kind of a center spiritually of our county. and it's Ranchman's Camp Meeting on Nogel Mesa. And, through the years, we had always thought it would be so wonderful to have other events there. Even the people, the administration there have said, it's a shame. This is only used once a year. It's a very special place. It has a great tabernacle that overlooks, it's on the mesa, it overlooks Carrizosa. You can see the whole valley out there. Lunchroom and everything. They've been using it for almost 90 years. It's been there for many years. And anyway, I proposed it to some of the leadership the other day, or here a while back, and they said, man, that would be wonderful to have, an anointed prayer meeting and then go right into the Ranchman's Camp Meeting, which is primarily an evangelical outreach. It's preaching the gospel, the gospel of salvation. And they just got the vision and said, man, maybe we can reach our county this way, and not just, we can have the prayer meeting, but let's invite everybody in the whole county, to come and participate in this multiple event here. And so just last week we got approval. They had to take it to their committees and stuff and, go through the process. And we got notified that, hey, they're in, they're ready to go. And this is a blessing in many ways, because I said, well, what do we need to contribute? I mean, do we need to help with the insurance and the porta potties? And, there's a lot of cost. They say that their cost is like $20,000 to put this thing on. And I said, what is our part? And they said, oh, don't worry about that. It's taken care of. And so this is I'm going to say a quadruple blessing. This is coming from all different directions. The pastors groups, we're meeting with them here shortly. I've been Rick Hutchison, one of the pastors who has been involved in this many years, a good friend of ours and mine. We've been prayed together for years at Angus Church over there. Anyway, he's on board, and he said he meets with 12 or 13 other pastors in Ruidoso area, and he said they're all excited about it. So we're just going to take it a step at a time, and I'm not sure how everything's going to work out. It will be July 15th, and we're saying if this is the cleanup day for the camp, for the Ranchman's Camp Meeting. This is on a Saturday. They start the following Wednesday. And so if anybody wants to show up early, 9 o'clock or so, to help clean up the camp, which is what they're doing that day, then you're welcome to come and be a part of that. If not, bring your lunch. Well, whether you do or not, bring your lunch. We'll have lunch break at 12 and start the meeting at 1 o'clock. And we're planning on going till 5. We don't have any restrictions because of the way it's set up. Nothing else is going on, so if we want to go further than that, that's fine, but we're planning on 1 to 5. And that's the Nogel Mesa Ranchman's Camp Meeting between Capitan and Carrizosa. So we'll have it on the ChristianBody.tv website here shortly.
And again, for everybody listening or watching, if you're in or around New Mexico at all, please do like and share this information with everyone you know in and around our state. Of course, the biggest takeaway will be what's coming next in August. I mentioned it earlier, was going to be a one-day event on August 26th, and that was almost impossible from the get-go, but nothing's impossible for God. And so now we are at August 25th, 26th, and 27th. I know they're getting the flyers done. I don't know if Camille and Aaron are available to share or speak, but okay, so she doesn't have the time right now because she's got some issues going on her end. Of course, we expect that. It is a spiritual battle. But let's just say, I mentioned earlier, we have the Jesus Gathering folks coming up. As a matter of fact, Aaron and Camille, the whole family, will be in Southern California, I believe San Diego, for a Jesus Gathering event there. So they're going to be spending some time there with Rick Quans, who had the Jesus Gathering on his property, where he does the prayer tent every weekend right along Los Ranchos to Albuquerque on the main road there every Saturday from 10 to 2. So these things have been in reality, whether it was small groups, occasional, like Jim said, he's been doing Fiesta de Amor for a year. This is now becoming, and the main thing is from here, we don't know where we're going. All right. This is clearly going to be a walk of faith. And I believe it's the time of season that we're in. We were always in that time of season. We may just not have missed it or we weren't paying attention, but for sure, now is the time to walk by faith and not by sight. So from August 25th, 26th, 27th, please, there's almost 2,000 churches in Albuquerque Metro. Imagine every person from every church in Albuquerque Metro alone showing up at Balloon Fiesta Park. What a statement that would make to Albuquerque, to Bernalillo County, to our state, and to America. This will be the first time, even with Prayer at the Heart, Grover, you mentioned Texas. In Lebanon, Kansas, we had 3,000 people there. And yes, we will try to stream every one of these events as we can. But the 3,000 people that showed up in Lebanon, Kansas 2 years ago, 12.5 million people viewed it. And so this is the importance of streaming, casting out that living word, that seed. Let God send somebody to water it. God bring the increase. But we're just here to put it out there. And from August, that weekend, 25, 26, 27, we do not know where we're going. If need be, we will just round up folks in my van and we'll drive to the center of each county. We have no tribal nations on board yet, and there's 23 tribal nations in New Mexico. So the counties that are available but are not yet committed to dates and times. Matter of fact, Joe Gonzalez in Espanola with Rio Arriba County, he is down in Texas today with Terry Clough from the Navajo Nation for the tribal gathering, and he will be taking on the Rio Arriba County. So we do have folks in place. I'm looking at my list here. We have Mark Size in Las Vegas and Miguel County, and as of what we just talked about today, that's all we got, or as Bugs Bunny would say, or Porky Pig, that's all, folks.
Yeah, we do have a number of others that are working toward that. We don't have dates and times or anything like that yet, but there's some of these things going on. I'd like to make a comment on the Albuquerque meeting. We understand that the Albuquerque meeting at International Balloon Fiesta Park is probably going to be, without question, going to be the largest event, because it's become a New Mexico event, and many people are going to be supporting from many other counties. We supposedly have 2,000 or 3,000 people that are planning on being there already. But I wanted to mention something and say that the Albuquerque event is become a co-operating event with Jesus Gathering, which isn't a church per se. It's just a fellowship of kind of a loosely put together thing. It's a very, very powerful thing that's been going on. But it's also a number of the local churches have come on board as well. So it's a joint effort. It's a community effort that's going on. As a matter of fact, I understand that Sunday, it's going 3 days. It went from Saturday only, the 26th, to the 25th, 26th, and the 27th, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And, for example, the Sunday event, I understand, is many of the local churches are canceling their services, wherever they might be, and coming together at Balloon Fiesta Park. And praise God, Mark and Jim and Cipriano and everybody on here, this is what, in some ways, this is kind of what the goal is for bringing the people together, laying down the barriers, the divisions, and the things that isolate us and separate us, coming together under the headship of Jesus. Mark, you prayed and ministered on that earlier. But that's what's happening in Albuquerque, and we believe in many other areas as well. This isn't about us at ChristianBody.net. It's not about Prayer at the Heart, essentially, even though these are vehicles. These are things that are helping to bring this together. But each county has its own voice. They can do it any way they want to. We have some ideas of what works and what doesn't, and we're glad to share those and to help them in any way. But each county has a different personality, different people that will be involved. and they have complete freedom to move into these things for their county. They are the ones living there. They're the ones responsible. So, amen.
Yeah, it's a proven fact in missions that when you get the indigenous people of the land in their own language, their own culture, to minister the gospel, that's where the greatest fruit is born. And so this is what we're looking for. Every county to highlight who you are in the state of New Mexico. Yeah, to pray for your county, to pray for your state, but pray for America, pray for the rest of the world. As Jim said, bring in everybody and anybody. This is not about any denomination. This is about kingdom mindset. Will everybody come? Everybody won't be able to come. But if you can come, you certainly need to be there. You don't want to miss this, because next year we will be in the center of every city. So if you know anybody, anywhere, and this is all across America, again, you go to prayerattheheart.org or projectpray.org. Anywhere in America, this is happening in the states, in the counties, and in the cities. So all we need is 2-3 people anywhere in our state, in our nation, to cry out to God. And that gives God an open window to enter in. You know, it's interesting because Grover, you were on with us yesterday, and Cipriano. I don't know if you all saw the picture that Camille shared, but it's interesting because the picture that showed Jesus stepping on America to bring his kingdom purpose had his right foot right in New Mexico. And Aaron shared about the vision and the word that he got about the footprint in Bernalillo County. Well, yes, it's prophetic. There are prophetic paintings, and some people are like, yeah, sure, okay, right. But look, whether you believe it or not, God's going to have his way. His glory shall be over all the earth. But the interesting thing about that picture is that it is called the invitation. And just as Jesus rode in to Jerusalem, are we welcoming him into our home, into our business, into our city, into our county, into our state? Are we? I don't know. That's up to you. That's up to me. But that is the purpose and plan, that individually and corporately we come together kingdom-minded for God's kingdom purpose. And as I say, to hear from him and to hear from each other, because he's speaking to us today. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Mark, for explaining the picture. I didn't fully understand all about it. Thank you for explaining it again. And likewise, Grover, the openness of description of what prayer at the heart is for people to grasp it. You know, we're going to have big events. We're going to have small events. We're not events. It's a movement again. Let's talk about the movement, the Holy Spirit, how the movement is working. Is it, if we have 3 people, is that enough? According to the Word of God, it is. 2 or 3 are gathered in my name and pray. So we need to have people of that heart. And so, you know, I mentioned Socorro County is lacking. We have again, Catron, as we say in Spanish, Catron County. We have a lot of other areas that we can go, but, you know, we need to stretch ourselves a little bit as to how we can include all these other counties. I know, or you mentioned too, Grover, Shelley was talking about checking with the fairgrounds, county fairgrounds. I think that should be the place where we have the events, my opinion, because that's a county. Every county has a county fairgrounds. Utilize those as a facility, and how are they going to disagree with it? Like I say, no charge. We're moving forward with that. What's going to happen? I don't know. But let's step out and to be inclusive and inviting into this out there. And I look at the opportunities in Albuquerque. Okay, we have an influx of immigrants. In fact, Maria de Jesus Benavides from 104.7, which was called Las Buenas Nuevas, for the good news. They've just been taken over and called the truth now. But anyway, she had cruised Albuquerque, or they cruised from Eubank all the way to Unser on Central. And innovation like this, but we need, there's an immigrant population of another level that we have to include here. Guess what? Which of the areas have the greatest number of Native people? I don't have the figures like Mark did. Mark pulled out numbers. Hey, there's a lot of Native people in Albuquerque. A lot of Native people. Heck, this is maybe the place to make a lot of hay with reaching the Native nations. I get my vernacular all messed up here, but yeah, let's work on this thing. Let's work a little loosely as we work the Valencia County is not my domain. Okay. And so I invite others in and say, you want to take over me? Fine. I'm learning how to let go and let God do it. You know, somebody have a better idea to do it? Fine. I'm hanging on to stuff very loosely, Grover. I'm learning how to do that. And but it works. But we have a responsibility, 2.2 million in New Mexico. So how are we going to work together to get this accomplished? Because it is reachable. We can accomplish it. And I was talking to Alonso, who took on the New Life Church, was working with it to say, you know, his assignment was get 100 people into his church for the Resurrection Sunday. And I told him this, there, Grover, thinking about that, see, but I don't know how we need to think. The moment he said, I'm going to do it, it was accomplished. How about that? Yeah. The minute we said we're going to take on 33 counties and 23 nations, it is accomplished by faith, right?
So we need to move. Jim, that's really the key right there to much of this. When any of us, and I've been telling some of the counties that are looking into this, said, listen, set your date and your time, and then everything starts falling into place. Don't try to plan it all out and then say one of these days somewhere we're gonna have this thing. Nail it down, make a decision. Even if you have to change the decision, maybe you have to change to a different location or something. But I think that's the starting point. I wanted to add a couple other things. See, we have a few minutes left here, just about 5 minutes. And there's some other events that are going on right now, and I just thought we might put them in there that are coming up. Some of them are the same times as other events that we've already talked about. I think we're going to see a lot of that in this season because there's just so many events going on, awesome things going on, and we're just blessing them. Bless them all. They're all part of what God is doing. One of them, and the ladies were on a couple of weeks ago. They're going to be on next Wednesday. Patricia and Miriam and some of the speakers that will be at this conference, April 21st through the 23rd. And you say, well, you're having these things in Albuquerque and Gallup at the same time. Yes, we are. This is a women's conference, and it's called Unlocking the Royal Treasuries. And it's basically a 3-day conference, or starts Friday evening, goes through Sunday. You can register at CHYILPBC. That's CHAYLPBC.com. And they have the information on that. This is going to be these are a bunch of awesome ladies, a bunch of intercessor ladies, and these are spiritual people. And you're going to love that. And my wife and my daughter and many other, we've sponsored several other people to go to that. I know one of our friends sponsored 15 of the Teen Challenge ladies to go to that. Maybe it wasn't Teen Challenge, but it was one of the similar ministries there. And this is an exciting time. This is a time for some healing, some restorations, maybe getting a new, fresh vision in the Spirit of the Lord. Important stuff. Mark, I'm going to turn it back over to you. We got about 3 minutes.
Grover, you mentioned Teen Challenge. I know Teen Challenge will be at the Bernalillo County event.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're more than willing to go to any county. They're working the state. I did want to say this too, because Isabella Solis will be on with us to talk about her event, the New Mexico Day of Honor, May 25th to 28th. Again, that'll be at New Beginnings Church. I don't have all the info yet, but when we get it up and out there, we will let you know. So look, this is not to step on anybody's toes. As a matter of fact, other churches are having men's ministry meetings the same weekends. Look, this is going to happen. That's okay. If somebody goes to the left and somebody goes to the right, doesn't mean anybody's going in the wrong direction. Let's just all individually and with the people around us